Hi guys, and welcome to an Ace Tanker for the PZ S35, the Tier 3 German medium premium tank. This is a game I cut from the recent Panzer S35 review that I did. It was left in right up till the last moment, and then I decided to cut it because it's not a true representation of the tank. I have said in the review again and again and again, the PZ S35 is a really good tank. It is a really good tank when it gets top tier. So when you get this tank into a tier 3 game, you can dominate, as you're going to see in this replay. But when you get it into a tier 4 game, the tank is okay. You can still do a job, and it's not bad, but unfortunately the PZ S35 doesn't get special matchmaking, so it gets into a lot of tier 5 games. The waiting for the tank seems to be quite heavy, and I lost count of the number of games I played in this tank where I was bottom tier in a pretty much all tier 5 game, and in those situations it is very difficult to play the Panzer S35 well. You don't have the hit points, you don't have the speed, you don't have the maneuverability, and you definitely don't have a good gun. A gun good enough to do damage against tier 5 tanks. So it's a very frustrating tank to play. You end up having to fire quite a lot of premium when you get into higher tier games, and as I say, you tend to get a lot of higher tier games in this tank. So while it's a very good tank, I don't think it's a really good purchase, not for your first tier 3 premium. There are a lot of better tier 3 premiums to buy, and that's pretty much all summed up in the review. So if you haven't checked that out, please do. However, when you get it into a tier 3 game, this is an amazing tank. It is a really well armored tank with a decent gun for a tier 3 game. We are here on Prokhorovka, and it's a 57%er, so the odds are slightly in our favor, but both teams have very experienced players. Both teams have some good players on it, so it's a pretty close game. Here we go. So, being a medium tank, the tank accelerates quite quickly, but it doesn't have a very high top speed. But my plan is to head over to the hill on the 0 line. And I've got binocs equipped, so I'm hoping to do a little bit of spotting. And as you can see, the PZ2 ahead of me is fairly quick, but I'm keeping up with him. In fact, I'm actually catching up with him. So across this rough ground, we're doing around 30 kilometers an hour. Whoa, mega lag. So it's not the quickest tank, but it's fast enough and it's maneuverable enough for a tier 3. But this tank is just not fun to play, especially when you get into tier 5 games. So a lot of our tanks are still sitting AFK in spawn. A lot of tanks are still sitting along the A line. So it's just a PZ2 and a PZ2G up here with me. And as you can see, going uphill, the engine drops off to about 10 kilometers an hour. So it's not that powerful an engine. It's not great on hills, but it does accelerate on the flat quite quickly. So you can see how fast this tank aims. You can see how fast the gun fires. We are just tearing this medium 3 apart. So I go for a blind shot, and I thought that should have killed him. And there we go. So there's kill number 1 with a blind shot. I've just been spotted. There's an AMX-38 down here. He's just bounced his first shot. I'm angled, but I can't pen him. He's at a bad angle for me. And there's no way I'm going to pen him with normal AP, so I switch to premium rounds. And I'm still bouncing. So he's gone off radar. I've dropped back to normal ammo, and the two tanks that went up on the hill ahead of me, the PZ2 and the PZ2G, they're both dead, so it's pretty much just me and a Chini over here. Chini is staying at the back, but I'm poking the hill now. So I've bounced one shot. Great armor for a tier 3, counts for next to nothing in a tier 4, and you might as well not have armor when you get into a tier 5 game. But I've sat here, I've let my binocs kick in. And we're not spotting anything. There's a Martyr 2 moving up, and there's the AMX-38. He's coming for me. He actually came to hunt for me. But my sixth sense hasn't gone off, so I haven't been spotted. But he's looking for me, and I'm waiting for my friendly tanks to shoot him in the rear. Okay, so he's turned his attention to another tank, and now I've gone back to the premium ammo. And you have to use premium ammo in this tank quite a bit. There's a bounce with the premium ammo. I'm shooting through these bushes, so I'm not being spotted. And we take him out. So, even though I'm top tier in a tier 3 game, I still have to use some premium ammo. And that's one of the problems with the tank. But, really fast aim time. Get a shot into the Martyr. Not much to shoot at. And there we go. So, there's kill number 3. Another Martyr spotted in the middle. And the gun is pretty accurate. And there we go. There's kill number 4. So, the gun is fairly accurate and really fast aim time, rapid firing. And against most tier 3s, you don't need to use premium ammo. But the fact you have to means that you don't make as much money in this tank as you might otherwise. So that AT1 has 6 cents. He was already falling back before I fired my first shot. He's the best player on the enemy team. But I'm on 4 kills. I know where the AT1 is, and every other tank on the enemy team has not yet been spotted. So I'm advancing. I've got a funny feeling there's nothing left over on this side of the map, so I'm fairly safe to advance. The AT1 has popped up to the ridge again. Get one shot in. He's down to 17 health and he falls back. So I'm doing 38 kilometers an hour along here. As I say, the tank accelerates pretty quickly, but it does have a fairly slow top speed. And you gotta remember, this is a medium tank, so you don't get your camo rating on the move like you do with most other tier 3 premium tanks. So the AT1 has fallen back. I pop the ridge and take him out for kill number 5. There's an SU-18 up here, but I don't have shots. Need to move forward. I was spotted. Okay, there's Artie. And I can't pen him, need to go for the weak spot. And I'm quick enough to take him out for kill number 6. That's Top Gun. 3 remaining enemy tanks. They're all hiding down in the corner. But yeah, against tier 3s, this tank is just so good. The biggest problem is you can't count on getting tier 3 games. So I noticed the PZ-1C was advancing. I've been spotted, so I angle, Valentine AT bounces, take him out. Now there's a Cruiser 2. He manages to pen me. And I take the Cruiser 2 out as well for kill number 8. So there you have it. Another ace tanker in the Panzer S35, or the Samao 35 when it was on the French lines. High caliber and a Top Gun. This tank really performs as a tier 3 in a tier 3 game. As I mentioned in the description, it's a good tank. In fact, it's a great tank at its own tier, but it's a terrible tank versus higher tiers. So Finished top on XP with 1086, did 1162 damage. So over 1,000 damage in a tier 3 tank with 8 kills. Finished with 41 shots fired, 35 hits. So the gun worked really well in that particular game. Sometimes it doesn't work quite so well at range, but 35 hits out of 41 shots and 29 pens. So yeah, a lot of bounces on the AMX 38, and I did have to use some premium to kill him, but the gun is pretty good against its own tier. I received 3 hits and only actually got penned once, so I bounced 2 shots. The armor on the tank is really good, but you do need to angle it. Spotted 5, damaged 8, destroyed 8, and did 128 assistance damage. Just got the 7 base capture points because one of the tanks managed to reset me. I earned, even though I had to fire some premium ammo, I earned 29,000 credits with that game. I may have had some premium ammo in the depot, that looks fairly cheap, but you will actually make money with this tank, but only in a tier 3 game. When you get into a tier 4 or tier 5 game, you end up having to fire more premium or doing no damage, in which case you're not earning money in the tank. So as a money maker, I don't count it a very good tank, even though it's a great tank. I do like the PZ S35, but I just think the matchmaking makes the other tier 3 premiums much better purchases. It wasn't the first game of the day. I was playing a few games in the tank to get footage for the review. So 1629 XP with a premium account, and there we have it. Yet another Ace Tanker in the PZ S35. It's a great tank, folks, don't get me wrong, and if I'm negative about it in the review, that's simply because there are far better tier 3 premium tanks you can buy. It's not a bad purchase, but if you are going to buy it at half price and be prepared for some really frustrating games. As I say, fantastic tank when it gets the right matchup, but terrible tank if you end up bottom tier in a tier 5 game when there are 4 or 5 KV1s on the enemy team. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.